I'm already a millionaire in my mind. I don't see it yet, but I believe it now. In the same way a seed is called by its finished form, I'm accepting my divine inheritance as a child of God. I'm meant to have life and have it more abundantly. My treasure on earth shall correspond directly to the treasure in the heaven of my mind. Abundance is my birthright. Ashe, amen, and so it is. My name is Julian Gordon, and I'm author of Rich and Righteous: Spiritual Secrets to Mastering Money, Manifestation, and Your Mind. After becoming a multimillionaire through real estate investing, I was moved by God at the beginning of the pandemic to share my money mindset that allowed me to quit my job in January of 2009 at the bottom of the last recession and achieve full financial freedom. I own my mental real estate before I own any physical real estate. This book is like some of your favorites: Rich Dad, Poor Dad, As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, and the Bible all in one. But the divine downloads and thoughts that are in here are 100% original and came for a 6-month period at the beginning of the pandemic. This book is normally $100 on Amazon if you went there right now, but I want to give you access to it for free by inviting you to our next reading group. Yes, the reading group is 100% free. Every weekday for 100 days straight, I'll be reading and discussing the 10 money commandments in the book that make money come to you in your life easily, more frequently, and abundantly. And it will take about 30 to 45 minutes as we read 3 to 5 pages per day until we finish the book and reprogram your mind around money. Why 100 days? Well, if you are 30 years old, you've lived for 10,950 days. And we have to deprogram and reprogram the negative, scarcity-based money mindset society has taught you. And I believe I can do that in just 1% of the time in about 100 days. I'm done with shelf help. You know, when you buy a book to change your life, but you never read it, it just sits on your bookshelf and collects a whole bunch of dust. We off that. When is the last time you had an author actually read their book to you out loud because they cared about you getting the information in your soul? I'm not just here to get this book in your hands. More importantly, I want to get it in your head and your heart, because that's where the real transformation occurs, in the conscious and the subconscious mind. As scripture says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is not the type of book that you just read once. To renew the subconscious mind requires repetition over and over and over. So if you joined us last time, I encourage you to join us again. I myself have read this book over 10 times already. So click the link to join our next reading group, and when you sign up, I'm gonna give you the first 2 chapters of the book for absolutely free on what is money and abundance is your birthright, so that you can start your journey to a more abundant life today.
Hello, everybody. What's good? What's good? This is Fabian with another reading of the Rich and Righteous. We're on day 5. Day 5. So happy to be here to share day 5 with you guys. Day 4 was great. We started the chapter with I Am Abundant. And one of the big takeaways yesterday for day 4 was the power of I Am. If you're new, make sure you go back and check out the previous reading so you can get caught up. We're doing 100 days reading of the Rich and Righteous so we can reprogram our minds around money. We're going to go ahead and get the reading started. Just make sure once the reading is complete that you go in the comment section below and let us know what your takeaways from the reading are. This helps you, it helps me, and it helps previous readers that come into the community to get started on the 100-day challenge. Maybe something that you like that could resonate with someone else, but they missed it. So that way they can go back and listen and read and pick up that gem. Also, the book. Go ahead and get you a copy of the book so you can follow along. We got a 100-day challenge here. Plenty of time left. Plus, this book is designed to be read over and over and over again. There's always new gems to find. I'm on my 2nd read right now, and I'm still learning things that I missed from the first one. So the link to purchase the book is in the comment section. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get day 5 started. Day 5. Being poor is sin, but poverty is not.
Being poor is sin, but poverty is not. I know your afflictions and your poverty, yet you are rich. Revelations 2:9. The love of money and the lack of money are both roots of all evil. Poverty is not a sin. Poverty is just a condition. but being poor is a sin. Don't confuse being born into poverty with being poor. Being poor or dwelling in poverty consciousness is a financial sin. Jesus said, "The poor will be with you," as a woman poured expensive perfume on his head. He knew that some people wouldn't understand. A child of God can never be poor. Reverend Michael Beckwith said, "The facts of your life are not the truth of your being. A lie believed acts as your personal law until neutralized." Poverty is an external condition that can be changed, but believing you are poor is an internal identity that is harder to change. You can't get out of poverty while still believing you are poor. You are a child of God, the infinite source of all supply, the creator of all that is. If you are in God's will and doing God's will as a child of God would, you can never be poor. I would rather be in poverty, a temporary, changeable condition, and have nothing in my hand than to be or believe I am poor in my head and heart. The reality is that you were made in God's image, and to be created in God's image and think that you are poor would suggest that God is poor. How can you be poor when God is pouring into you? God is the abundance, the Alpha and the Omega from which all things come. There is not one speck of poverty in God. For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. To be whole, which is to be poor and hold on to that identity, the poverty mindset is dishonoring who you are and whose you are. Gandhi once said, "Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny." This goes along with other sayings like, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," or "As above, so below," or "Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind." Your thoughts shape your reality. Your harvest comes from your habits, not happenstance, and our habits tend to come from our habitat. Most people subconsciously do things because of their culture, but we must consciously ascend to a place where we're doing things for the culture that lift it up and move it forward. Your behavior, or behavior, determines what is yours. Be it first, have it in your mind second, and then it will be yours. The universal laws are objective, meaning that they don't bend. Like physical laws, what holds true for one person can and will also be true for another person if they use the law properly. Poverty or prosperity are choices. Poor is an impermanent condition. Poverty is a state of mind that creates and perpetuates that condition.
For those that do not have the book yet, he did a play on words. Your behavior determines what is yours. The regular word behavior, but then he broke behavior down as B-E, have, H-A-V-E, which is behave, but it's behave, H-A-V-E, behavior, which is behavior, determines what is yours. Be it first, have it in your mind second, and then it is yours. Behavior, you need to be it first, then have it in your mind second, and then it will become yours. Once again, he did a play on words, but basically, your behavior determines what you will have. Your behavior starts with you being what is needed first, then having it in your mind, and then it becomes yours. Behavior.
You are not poor, though you may be in a poor condition. Jesus was born in a manger, but that didn't mean he was an animal. You may have been born into poverty and therefore think I am poor, but your outward condition doesn't define you. If it did, we would all be victims of fate. Poverty consciousness is when we believe that we are simply a product of our environment, and that is a feeling of powerlessness. Being poor is a result of three things. One, being unaware of how God has already poured into you. Two, not pouring into others by using what God has given you. And three, not allowing God to continue to pour into you. Poverty consciousness feels that unless something outside of you changes, then your condition may never change. It is a failure to tap into or unawareness of the God in you. Poor thinking leads to poor people, which leads to poor conditions, which leads to poor thinking, which leads to poor people and even poorer conditions. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. As the late Jim Rohn once said, anyone can be poor, but you have to learn to be wealthy. Being wealthy is a study, a practice, and a lifestyle. Change your mind and change your life. The source of the issues in your personal economy is not the state of the larger economy or what the government did or didn't do. It is a state of mind, and our collective state of mind results in the form of the economy. When it comes to wealth, money is not the only metric that matters. Your bank account does not reflect your value in God's mind. Poor is a lowly, disempowered, weak, victim-based, negative, scarcity-based, passive, fearful, doubtful, worried approach to life. None of those are attributes of God or a child of God. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline." Never say I am poor. Never say I am broke. I am is what God calls itself. And Reverend Ike once said, anytime you add something negative to I am, you are using the Lord's name in vain. Your word shall never return void. This is not an affirmation you want to manifest. Never let your environment, what is around you, determine your environment, what is inside of you. Don't think I am surrounded by poverty, therefore I am poor. Instead, think I am surrounded by poverty so I can show how rich I am. Where or what you are born into does not determine who you are. Who you are, your identity, is based on where you come from. Your identity is permanent. It never changes. It is not based on changing external circumstances or conditions. Poor is not who you are, though it may be how you feel. By using financial spirituality, we can change how you honestly feel about yourself inside, thus changing your identity and frequency. Then your external reality will eventually have to catch up and match who you are. The only way to break that cycle is from within, which is what this book is designed to do. To reverse generational curses and cycles of poverty, we must tap into our generational blessings and blessing models. The good news is that because your faith is so strong, you are closer to financial freedom than you think. The poverty you have lived in has built up your faith. Faith is the external fruit of internal belief. You've learned how to rely on God to provide for you. Every other animal on earth relies on God daily except for human beings who trust in money.
I just want to stop here real quick and pinpoint a small section in the reading here. Poor thinking leads to poor people, which leads to poor conditions, which leads to poor thinking, which leads to poor people and even poor conditions. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. All this results around thinking. Previously in the reading, it stated, change your mind, change your life. Everything starts in the mind. Change your mind, change your life.
You know from experience that man does not live on bread alone. The race is not who gets the furthest in life. It's actually who gets the closest to God. And you are closer to God than many people with mountains of money because they have made money their God. You can access wealth consciousness through a shift in your beliefs and your imagination. Since God is not a big human being in the sky, it is more accurate to say that we are made in God's imagination than it is to say we are made in God's image. The imagination is where all things come from. Everything man-made started in someone's mind first. It costs you nothing to travel into the temple of your mind, tap into your imagination, and envision the life you want to have. Intangible wealth is limitless. The only limits are your own limited beliefs and thinking about who you are in God and who God is in you. Acquiring wealth doesn't begin externally. It starts within. First, you must believe that you are worthy to receive it. Wealthy thinking leads to wealthy people, which leads to wealthy conditions, which leads to wealthy thinking, which leads to wealthy people and even wealthier conditions. Wealth is self-generating once you get enough momentum. You have the opportunity to shift from using the word because as an excuse or X cause, which is the externalization of cause, to being the cause and creator of your experience on earth as it is in the heaven of your mind. We can't take cues about who we are from external sources. We must go within, for you remain as God created you, perfect, whole, and complete, despite what has happened to you in life. If I ball up a $100 bill, spit on it, step on it, and throw it in the garbage, it still holds its value despite what it has been through. The same is true for you. In fact, your value increases because what you've been through is like a coal under pressure producing a diamond. When you understand that as a child of God, abundance is your birthright, You begin to see poor external conditions as an opportunity to demonstrate how wealthy you indeed are. You realize that you are a black belt and at the highest level of manifestation, which is to start with nothing. With that mindset, you don't complain about poverty as a problem. Instead, you accept it as a challenge as an economic asset alchemist. If you were born rich and die rich, what have you proven to yourself? If you were born into poverty, it is for you to be lifted up by God and for you to show the world how rich you are through your undeniable public demonstrations of abundance. We don't need any more public demonstrations asking other people for things. Instead, we demonstrate our abundance publicly through the manifestations in our life. This does not just apply to money. Money is not the only thing we come into this world feeling like we lack. Some lack money, some lack love, some lack a fully functioning body, some lack confidence, some lack discipline, some lack courage. Whatever you feel you lack is what you are likely here to gain. You have the power to turn any perceived initial inadequacy into abundance. Open your rituals workbook and complete the struggles to strength exercise.
All right, we're moving on to the next section in the reading. Remember those takeaways. The real reason you may not be wealthy yet.
The real reason you may not be wealthy yet. Lot says to the angels, I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me and I'll die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. Genesis 19:19-20. The main reason you may not be wealthy yet is your limited thinking about what is possible in your life. You've settled in your mind, and likewise, your money has settled at a certain level that you were comfortable with, but not necessarily happy with. We aren't born with limiting beliefs. Most people's world starts big and then shrinks over time. This is why Jesus said, be ye childlike. One day while driving, my 5-year-old daughter asked me from her car seat, Daddy, why don't we have $50 million? At first, I was defensive and prepared to give her a monologue about how ungrateful she was for what we have. We are well off. But after I paused, I had to answer. My own limiting thinking, baby. $50 million is more of a possibility to a 5-year-old who knows very little about life and business yet than it is to an adult with a ton of education and experiences. Sometimes we know too much, and knowing too much can cause us to overthink and second guess ourselves. Kids think all things are possible until adults derail their dreams. Adulthood is the most dangerous neighborhood in the entire world. More dreams die there than anywhere else. If you use excuses, your kids will use excuses too. Generational and regenerational wealth is not just money. It is a mindset. Until you accept full responsibility for who you are, where you are, and why you are, you will never be free. You can blame your parents, racism, sexism, student debt, the banks, the education system, the government, childhood trauma, etc. You can say, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too late, I have bad credit, I need to learn more, I have a learning disorder, I come from poverty, I'm a single parent, I'm divorced, I don't make enough. For every excuse you come up with, I can find 5 people who have stepped into abundance despite the crutch you were leaning on. You haven't accepted that abundance is your birthright, so you make excuses or ex-causes. Excuses or ex-causes are the externalization of a cause. You are giving power to something outside of yourself to determine the direction of your life. Based on that belief, you will never have what you desire in life unless someone or something else outside of you changes first. That's a victim-based mentality. A child of God never plays victim or plays small. Financially, it's time to pick up your math and walk. In the scripture, there is a story of Lot and his wife fleeing Sodom and Gomorrah. In Genesis 19:19-20, Lot says to the angels, I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here's a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared. Remember that many scriptures are allegorical. Allegorically, Lot was being instructed to go up to the mountains, which represent a higher level of thinking or consciousness above Sodom and Gomorrah, which represents lower level thinking. Sodomize means to go against nature or God. So Sodom and Gomorrah represent thinking that goes against God. But instead, Lot chose to go to Zoar, which means small or insignificant in Hebrew. Lot felt it was safer to play small than to follow God's instruction, and we can do the same thing with money. I'm not disregarding your experiences. I'm just disempowering them from dictating the direction of your life. We have the power to rise above any circumstance or condition we have been dwelling on or dwelling in. While every piece of evidence you present to make your case about why you were playing small may be 100% true, make you feel good, and let you off the hook, blaming doesn't serve you. It only enslaves you by empowering the people or condition you were blaming and thus diminishing your power. You are a child of God. Therefore, what would God, the Almighty, look like blaming the devil or anything for anything? That's blasphemy. If I'm a millionaire, there are only 3 reasons my daughter is not a millionaire yet that may also apply to you. 1, not ready enough. She is not in my will, which means that she is not ready to handle what I have to give to her. She's not operating in alignment with how I, the father, taught her or want the money in my control to be used. She's still my daughter, and I still love her. That will never change. But I may allow someone else to serve as my trustee while making sure she is still provided for. When we are in alignment with God, which I define as righteousness, we are in the will, and all things whatsoever the mother father have are ours too. She may think she can handle having a dog or a car or a party, but her maturity level and decision making haven't shown it yet. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tested beyond your strength. On top of that, if you got everything you wanted at once, would you even be able to handle it? If you got everything you wanted today, then what? Enjoy the process of becoming and it coming. 2, not receiving enough. She is not aware what her father has for her. The most my daughter has dared to ask out of her innocent 5-year-old mind or her humbleness is for a bike for her birthday. The bike was a big deal for her, and she was overjoyed. But the idea of a bike was probably planted by seeing her friends with a bike or seeing a commercial about a bike. She assumed that this was the extent of what a parent could give. In the same way, God tends to only give to us according to the size of our ask. Ask and ye shall receive. There's no limitation on the asking or receiving except our belief about what we think God is capable of giving us. When you know who you belong to, you know what belongs to you. 3, not reason enough. She doesn't need it yet. As we become more mature, we can discern needs versus wants. Our wants tend to get us in the most trouble financially, especially when we mistake them as needs. In commandment number 9, we will explore needs versus wants. The best way to distinguish a need from a want is to ask yourself, what would having this allow me to do that I can't do right now without it? It is a need if it allows you to be more, do more, and have more good in God. In the same way that parents give their kids an allowance, God gives you an allowance that allows you to do more than you currently can. For a kid, an allowance may allow them to get a car, get to work, get to the sports practice, get their own food, or get their own clothes. As children of God, we ask for more money, but when we ask ourselves, what would having more money allow me to do that I can't do right now without it? Our inner response is shaky. Beyond meeting your immediate needs and those of your immediate family, how would $1 million allow you to do more good for God's children? You want $1 million, but you don't really need it. You don't have a vision big enough where you having $1 million is a requirement or a result. And that is precisely why you don't have it yet. If you don't believe that abundance is your birthright, it is because of your personal religion, which is your unique set of beliefs about God and who God is to you and in you. Your wealth has nothing to do with your ethnicity, gender, education, GPA, career, parents, or political party. Your mother, Father God, who art in heaven, is as rich as you imagine them to be. If you don't feel rich right now, it is because you're not ready enough, you're not receiving enough, or you don't have reason enough. Through the 10 money commandments, we remove these blockages in hopes to open the floodgates of financial prosperity into your life. Open your rituals workbook and complete the ready to receive exercise.
This concludes day 5. Day 5 is officially in the books. We read 2 sections today. I wanted to go ahead and get those 2 sections out of the way so we can start hump day off right with our first commandment. We're moving into the next chapter of the money commandments, and we will be going over money commandment number 1. What are your takeaways for day 5? Comment below. Let us know. Let your peers know. Let your book club members know. What were your takeaways? How did it make you feel? Some of the previous takeaways, have you used them so far? Have you observed the type of mindset behavior that you're having? What do you need to change about your mindset? Change your mind, change your life. This concludes day 5. Make sure you guys tap in with those comments on your takeaways. Looking forward to tomorrow, where we will start our new section, our new chapter. We're going to be starting on our first money commandment. How do the rich measure money and wealth? Salute.